I'm not an academician. I am an actor, director,
Lovely.
and I'm based out of US.
Okay.
I
Nice.
keep shuttling to India to perform. Whenever I book a job, I come there.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm a faculty here. I teach at, if you've heard, St. Xavier's College, which is,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
yeah, it's in Mumbai as well. So I head the
Yeah.
Department of Media there.
Oh, lovely. So, what exactly do you teach, if I
I
may
teach
ask?
cinema, I teach film studies, and other than
Mm-hmm.
that, I teach screenwriting. Thank
Fantastic. Fantastic.
you.
So that is one thing which actually all the colleges they need to teach. We need to be focusing on
Not many,
screenplay.
not many colleges have. So our course is on
Yeah,
undergraduate level. So it doesn't have filmmaking is a very rare thing taught in most. I mean, very few colleges teach filmmaking in India, apart
right,
from
right,
FTI and SRFTI.
right. So, like honestly, I was traveling and then I was in LA visiting my daughter. So I got back, I had no clue. Even now, I have no clue what exact. I mean, the format of it. Of course,
Yes,
they
so
given.
they mentioned the format. It's essentially we are going to speak for 10 minutes on
Hmm.
Indian cinema, and the course it's taking and challenges and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
Yeah. And after 10 minutes, we are going to just, they are,
Q&A.
yeah, ask some questions and pretty much that.
Hmm.
And student configuration is mostly undergraduate and master's student, apart from few
Hmm.
professors who will be there. So that's what they've
Hmm.
mentioned.
Okay.
But
Because they sent me a agenda. Um, but that doesn't have like the timing is kind of off. So first 15 minutes is given to you, and the next 10:55 Preeta, Dr. Preeta, and then again 10:55 Deepa. So I was, hi,
Hi,
hi
ma'am.
Preeta.
Hi.
Please don't call me ma'am. Please call me
Oh,
Deepa. Because yeah, I ask everyone, please don't call me ma'am.
okay.
Yeah. So I was just talking to Ipsit, like the about the format.
So
Yeah.
how do we
So
go about?
so I was thinking in my mind, I was hoping that it's going to be an interactive session. Like we can start with one topic and then because this is such a vast subject, the challenges we are facing and then also the changes which are going to be coming up. So it is even 1 hour is not enough in my opinion, especially with three people are involved. We all have our own opinion and so you guys tell me how would you like to go about if you have any thoughts?
uh,
Um,
I just thought I'll generally speak on so basically I am referring to a FICCI report actually. There's a every
Okay.
FICCI frames happen. So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
referring to that and on that giving my personal opinion based on whatever data they've collected on
Okay, and
temporary
fine.
trends. That's FICCI essentially. Yeah.
So, Preeta, how about you? You have
uh,
order.
Deepa, ma'am, I just prepared just a brief presentation on how about the storyline structure or the content and the kind of platforms and technology has changed and what are the challenges we are facing it with it.
Oh, okay. So I have made some notes. I have not prepared a presentation or anything. So I'm talking about like I want to talk about the technological, especially AI.
Yeah.
Uh, the if both of you are not talking about it, probably I can focus on that
Yes.
and blockchain technologies and then AI probably,
Yeah.
But in general, like there are other like at a very high level, we can talk about what is happening in the industry if there is time, like the production cost, and then this is I'm talking about the practical difficulties what we are facing, we actors are facing, and as a producer, I am facing, you know. So that would be nice for the students to know, but I don't know whether we'll have the time. So let's see how it goes. And but in my mind, I was hoping that it's going to be a kind of discussion. But when I got the agenda this like a few hours back, I said, "Oh, okay." So, but
I
lovely to
I
connect
think
with
it
both
will
of
be.
you.
And listen, likewise, I think it will be a discussion. It's just that they want to start with us speaking for a few minutes. So
Ah, okay. Sure.
that's what they said yesterday because
Yeah, we have
Oh,
a 10 minutes or 15 minutes
yeah.
each person. Yeah,
each person.
cool. I wanted to like I posted. He sent me that poster. I wanted to post it on like I already did social media, but I didn't know both your handles, so I just hashtag Dr. Ipsita, hashtag Preeta. So, so you are heading LV Prasad Academy, is it,
Yes,
Preeta?
yes. I'm doing it for the BFA, for the UG program, filmmaking.
Oh,
Lots of our
oh, nice.
students go there every year.
Yes, Ipshita. I got to like know about few students, like they were into the PG, the postgrads.
Postgraduate because
Yeah,
we
they're
have
into direction.
UG. Yeah, we have UG, so they go there for masters.
Masters, yeah.
I was telling Professor Deepa, Miss Deepa, that so very few universities or colleges actually offer filmmaking as a as a course. Apart from, of course, SRFTI, FTI, and very few places which offers UG courses in filmmaking,
Especially in the undergrad program.
especially in the undergrad.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got really excited when she said that she's focusing on like she's teaching screenplay, which is like a must in my opinion, because the kind of crappy films we are getting now, with they're taking people for granted. They're taking all of us for I don't know what. Oh, are we online? I'm seeing
And
students. Somebody's there.
what do you teach, Professor Preetha?
I specialize more on the filmmaking, the general techniques of filmmaking and photography.
And you've started NEP also, like, or you're following?
Yes. What do you specialize in, Peter?
I specialize in two things. One is screenwriting. I have been teaching that forever, and film studies. That's my PhD is in cinema studies. Yes.
Studies. So you did on any particular?
Yes. So my research area is essentially I do industry study, and my PhD, which was a little while back, that was in post-millennium Hindi film industry. In the paradigm of convergence. But now I'm going into other smaller industries, like I'm studying my own Bengali film industry and so on as well.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
So that's where you brought your
My teaching research career is relatively new, but my teaching career.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi, ma'am. Shall we start the session, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes. Am I audible to all of you, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Shall we start? Yeah. Hello and welcome. I'm very excited to kick off this event. I'm RK, Assistant Professor, Department of Media Studies, SDM Vaishnav College, for a moderator for this session. Today we are going to discuss about the challenges and changes in Indian cinema. Each of our panelists brings up a unique perspective of challenges and changes in Indian cinema, which makes a better understanding of Indian cinema in this era. I'm grateful to introduce our esteemed panelist, Professor Ipsita Bharat. Professor Ipsita Bharat is a seasoned academic and currently serves as a head of the Mass Communication and Videography Department at St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. She has also held the position of head of Film Studies Department at the same institution. With over 14 years of teaching experience, her expertise lies in cinema and cultural studies, complemented by a profound passion for academic research. Professor Bharat, a PhD graduate from Javadpur University, focuses her research on industrial networks in cinema industries. Before embarking on her teaching and research journey, she showcased her creative talents as an artist, writer, and filmmaker. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Dr. R. Preetha. Dr. R. Preetha, the head of BFA Filmmaking at LV Prasad College of Media Studies, is a dedicated media academician with 15 years of experience in teaching and research. Her areas of expertise include film studies, photography, audio and video production, and curriculum design. Dr. Preetha's achievements includes a University Research Fellowship and multiple Best Teacher Award, alongside presenting and publishing research at national and international conferences. She has collaborated on projects related to women empowerment and media literacy, and has served as resource person for numerous faculty development programs. Recognized as a board of study member and academic audit expert, she has contributed to curriculum enhancement and governance. Notably, she holds a patent for designing a movable audiovisual training solution digital display unit, showcasing her innovative approach to education. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Deepa Ramanujam. Deepa Ramanujam is an accomplished Indian-American actor, director, and producer whose career spanned over 2 decades. She began her journey in 1995 with the legendary director K. Balachandran in the television series Premi, and into theatre under the mentorship of Bombay Jnanam. After moving to United States in 1998, Deepa studied theatre direction and filmmaking, eventually founding her own theatre company, Kriya. She has produced, directed, and acted in over 100 productions across North America and India. Her film credits includes working as a script supervisor for Achamundu Achamundu and contributing to production and direction in the film Kadaj. Deepa has also acted in several South Indian films, primarily Tamil, and has recently enhanced her skill by training with a renowned Hollywood acting coach. A lifelong learner, Deepa continues to inspire audience with her artistic vision and dedication to the craft. We welcome you, ma'am. Thank you all for being here today, ma'am. Without further delay, we'll start this session. To start off with, I hereby call upon Ipsita, ma'am, to start with the discussion about the challenges and changes in Indian cinema. Ipsita, ma'am, I think you are in mute.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen once. Let me know if that's fine. How do I share the screen here? Okay, is my PPT visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So, very good morning, dear students. Thank you for that, to the organizers. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, a minute. It is not visible actually.
Okay, just 1 second. Now, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Great. So a big thank you to the organizers. I'm really, really honored to be invited for this session. My dear students, very good morning to all of you. It's lovely. I'm looking forward to this short interaction with you. So as you know, thanks for the lovely introduction. Essentially, I teach Indian cinema. That's my area of research. That's my area of teaching. So I'm hoping to contribute something. Now, for this short talk, what I did was I was referring to something called FICCI Frames. FICCI, if you are aware of, they conduct yearly kind of, it's a huge session which happens in Bombay, and stakeholders from all sectors who are involved in Indian cinema. When I say Indian cinema, of course, I'm talking about contemporary Hindi cinema, and I'm not talking about, from the yesteryears. So all the stakeholders from contemporary Hindi cinema, producers, directors, actors, they kind of join together and they talk about cinema. There are very, healthy discussions around cinema. And interestingly, now with YouTube, we have all that sessions, right? So it'll be lovely if you students, if you can go and watch those sessions. And of course, they also take out a yearly report. So whatever I'm talking today is based on the FICCI Frames 2024 report, which is freely available on the internet. Thanks to, it's a great help for researchers like us and so on. Now, first is the coin itself. Without talking about this, I don't think so I should go into Hindi cinema. Indian cinema is very different from Hindi cinema. Indian cinema is, taking into account all cinemas across the country because ours is a federal state, but Hindi cinema is a cinema coming from Bombay. So since we have a paucity of time, let's just focus our discussion on Hindi cinema. And not Indian cinema in general, but of course, whatever is true for Hindi cinema is kind of true for Indian cinema as well. Now, if we talk about Hindi cinema, it's a very interesting flow, right? Right from right from the time of Phalke, we see, that time there was a concentration of mythology. I'm just going to timeline. That kind of ended, and then the coming of the studios arrived, and we had new theaters and all these Bombay talkies and lovely studios. Then the independence happened, and after that, we had the Raj Kapoor and Guru Dutt times when suddenly cinema became very state-oriented, right? So the state became the center of the focus of Hindi cinema. And I'm kind of flip-flopping and then going into Mr. Bachchan, right? When this was the time of Angry Young Man, when suddenly cinema turned anti-state, and it was critiquing state. So it was a very interesting relationship between the state and cinema. And of course, 80s was the worst time for Hindi cinema, and 90s, suddenly the entire focus shifted to market because, market was the king and we were making films which were geared towards the market. And of course, at that point of time, our market was essentially the US and the UK, and a lot of money was coming from the overseas market, and suddenly our films became all NRI centric and so on and so forth. But that time period is over. That is essentially what we call as Bollywood, and almost a new phase, and that was also the Shah Rukh Khan phase, I call it. So it's like, the stardom, Raj Kapoor to Mr. Bachchan to kind of Shah Rukh Khan. So we see the transition of Hindi cinema very interestingly if we just study these stars. But another very interesting change happened around 2015, or a little 2010. And this is the time when the multiplexes came in. 2007, it first came in into India, and then kind of a lot of things changed. This is also the time when digitization happened. And of course, digitization happened in 1998 itself with DI and all that. But, digitization happened in the truest sense of it because there was VFX and, the exhibition part of it became completely digital. So we were watching films through digital projectors and lovely things were happening to cinema, right? And cinema kind of altered. And then came the pandemic, which once again re-altered cinema once again. Because suddenly in pandemic, two things were happening. That is, films were not being produced as in not being exhibited in movie theaters. And we suddenly got the taste of watching films at home. And this is where the OTT films thrived and survived. And post-pandemic, cinema was in a flux, right? Hindi cinema itself is in a flux. And let me just restrict my talk to Hindi cinema. Hindi cinema was in a flux because they didn't know what to do. They thought that should be, there are certain films which got straight released in OTT. So they were like, should we focus on the OTT? Is this the new medium? And is theatrical because theaters remained closed for such a long period of time. So they thought that what should we do now? Should we release films in theater or should we release films in OTT? And there was a misnomer at this point of time, and I'm calling it misnomer because that's what happened in common press. Because the common press said that Hindi cinema is gone forever. Now we have only streaming cinema, right? And nobody goes to theater anymore, and theaters should be shut down and this and that. But that's a misnomer because if you see FICCI trends, and this is not just 2024, from 2022 onwards, it's not that films are nobody's watching films. People are watching films, and then when I say watching films, not just streaming films, but also they are going to theaters and watching films. That's why filmed entertainment had a growth. Of course, it was not like online gaming, but they had a reasonably steady growth. And people were watching films because the reports were saying so. And of course, I've just taken 2024, but if you look at the FICCI reports from over the years, the number of screens also grew and people were more watching films all the more. So what happened then, So then what is the problem? Are there no challenges? Am I saying that, cinema is kind of going very well and it's going to recoup itself? It's just that pandemic came and kind of swept us away for a while? No, right? What I think is cinema became polar, right? Of course, it's not just my opinion. Many scholars are also writing about the polarity of cinema, which is happening again, across the world. But my area of looking at it is through in Hindi cinema. Is that we have two different kind of cinema. One is the theatrical cinema, and one is the OTT or streaming based cinema. And the content for both these cinema are very different, right? Very different in nature. Both has its up and down, and in fact both are in a growing state. I'm not saying that domestic theatricals are kind of going, and it's nobody's watching films in theaters anymore. No, that's not happening. People are watching films in theaters, but it's two different kind of, not just two different kinds of medium, but it's two different kind of audience as well. So such transition happened long back before. I was trying to compare olden times, and there was a period of time when we had single screen theaters, and there was a transition to multiplex. So let me just quickly say what happened during that transition. Is that at that point of time, Mr. Bachchan films particularly, they were made for single screen theaters during the 70s and 80s. I'm not going into 50s. The moment you make a film for a single screen audience, you are essentially selling your ticket prices for very, very small amount of money, and you're making a film for a large audience, right? And this large audience doesn't have any demarcation in terms of class, caste, gender, nothing at all. Those are those dark screens. Once you're inside, you don't belong to any class, you don't belong to any caste, and so on and so forth, right? Whereas when multiplexes came in, the audience configuration changed. Why? Because now the films were being made for a certain class of audience who could enter a mall, right? Who had the money to buy popcorns and so on and so forth. So cinema suddenly was being made for a very small section of the society, and films were not made for class. And so you see the content change immediately, right? Films were more, I won't say sensible, but they became English. They were not masala films. So there was a transition from masala films to so-called very arty films and films which only catered to a certain kind of audience. And then what happened is that multiplexes became a way of life, right? Altogether, of course, those lower economic background, we kind of completely chucked them off from cinema. They are not supposed to watch films. But then films became, PVR and everything came into the tier 2 cities, and it became a generalized way of film viewing. Something similar happened again with OTT, but in a different format. Is now what has happened is that cinema is again polarizing. One half of the audience which is going to theaters, which is watching films, and films which are made for those audience, are essentially, they caters to a different class, but at the same point of time they are masala content, right? That's what the FICCI reports are saying. They are formula based, they're more masala driven. It's a mix of everything, and FICCI particularly calls it mass escapism, right? So all the films are mass escapist cinema, films which are being released in theater. And of course, I also try and call them spectacle driven cinema. So there are lots of VFX shots. You like watching them, right? It's a good sensory feel to your eyes. It's not too much about the narrative. It's not too much about the kind of story. And that's what working also, as per, of course, it's not my, the figures are not mine. It's taken from FICCI. So that's what saying that's exactly is working, right? And it's just you're eating popcorn, you're watching something nice. It's a different kind of emotion. It's a different kind of watching experience when you're watching it in theater. What the opposite of it is something which happening in the OTT platforms, where the filmmakers, and of course, Ms. Deepa will kind of elaborate on it. Filmmakers are now in the flux that the audience configuration has changed. So that audience who's going into theater is not my audience, but Indian audience, Hindi film audience are also not my audience, because now the audience is a global audience who is watching Hindi films, and therefore in OTT streaming platform, and therefore the content had to be reconfigured, has to be rethought, right? Right, which kind of caters to a global audience and not just caters to the Hindi cinema audience per se. In fact, people who are going into the theater are not even watching films in OTT platforms as per the reports, because there's so much polarity in terms of audience. So if I in a nutshell, I don't know if I've crossed my time, sorry if I've done that. So in a short, if you want to talk about the challenges and changes, one is definitely the change in the audience configuration. Of course, I have touched upon the polarity. The medium of cinema has changed. So there is two different kind of cinema now: theatrical cinema versus OTT cinema. Different audience, different kind of content configuration required for both of them. The problem with theatrical cinema is not that people are not going to theater, but the problem that they are kind of propagating a certain kind of sorry for the spelling mistake there, mass escapist cinema, which is spectacle driven, which is entertainment driven, and there's a lack of good films, if I may call good films. So I don't believe in the idea of good cinema or bad cinema. Of course, with the ever rising ticket prices, now if you go to a multiplex, the ticket prices are rising. This divide is kind of rising even more, right? Of course, in case of streaming cinema, everybody is going gaga about it, but we are forgetting the digital divide, which is there in case of streaming cinema, because a very few niche audience is able to pay for the streaming platforms, which are also becoming ever increasing, because Netflix has right now increased their subscription prices. So there's a kind of divide in terms of people who have access to cinema. So I think these are the challenges and the changes which we look forward to and which should be thought about. Thank you. And yeah, Frida.
Well, Sita ma'am. Thank you for your comprehensive analysis on the evolving narrative structure in Indian cinema.
Thank you.
Professor Ipsita ma'am, thank
Yes.
you for your comprehensive analysis on the evolving narrative structures in Indian cinema, especially in Hindi cinema, and how they are adapted to both local and global trends. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
And next, I call upon Dr. Preeta ma'am. Kindly take over the session, ma'am.
Good morning, all.
Ma'am, should we share
Yeah.
the screen which you have seen?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Preeta ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Can
Can you able to see the screen, ma'am?
No, I'm not able.
Just a minute, ma'am. Yeah. Now, ma'am? Preeta ma'am, can you able to see the screen, ma'am?
No, ma'am. Yeah, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You can, yeah. You can move on to the next. Yes. Yes. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm here. Is it audible, ma'am? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Here, I would like to talk about on few aspects of how we have the unique way of storytelling and the different things which have changed in the recent years in the film industry, and I'm taking it together with the whole perspective of Indian cinema. So these are the aspects which would I like to discuss in this platform. One is how content is being changing, evolving, and what are the different strategies the writers are adopting to make a very good script. The second is I want to discuss about the power of OTT platforms and how scripts are written based on it and how they distribute it, what kind of genres are being developed in the recent scenario. All that could be discussed in the power of OTT platforms and the storytelling methods. Like here, I would like to talk about the not the old formula trends of genres and how we try to work on the new methods of storytelling devices and the recent technological advancements with sound designing, or let it could be with the VFX and CGI. Is when it comes to content, these are the areas which I'd like to talk about, how we balance an art and a commercial film. So when it comes to writing a script, so when you want to try, especially with an experimental films, that is for the first time for a medium budget films, it will be always hard to find out funding. When you have a very good script, but at the same time, we don't know whether it will be commercially, it is successful. So balancing art and commerce in the sense it's how art films and commercial films are differentiated based on the writing styles. So always it will be very easy to project the big budget films very easily. Like if you have a big production house and where you have a very good script, and yes, it is like visible to the most experienced directors, yes, things will be totally different. For a newcomer, for a beginner, for a person who's coming, when you have even a very good film, you have a very good concept, you are dealing it very differently with certain aspects, it will be a little bit hard to find for a funding. So this is, I find, one of the important maybe a challenge when it comes to selling our concepts or scripts to find out the person who's going to fund it. Then the trend of making sequels and remakes. Now, this is becoming very, very common. At some point, we find that it is the sequels are like sometimes it is too much. In the sense we have enough, so we may also have a intention whether there is some kind of a creative aspect which is moving away. We repeat the same things again and again with respect to the kind of characters you're bringing in or the kind of story you're developing in it. So will it be again repetitive again and again? So is there an opportunity for bringing some fresh ideas in making a sequel, especially when it comes to 1-2? So this is a trend which we are seeing. So how it differs there also when it comes to content and character arcs. So character arcs here, I would like to talk about, especially in the South. I think we have more about this stardom, okay, the star power content, and how the fans are expecting from these actors. So sometimes the subject would be like how we are presenting the script as it is, or it could be changed here and there. So this is again, it could be a challenge as well as a change in the script writing phase. And even nowadays, audience preferences are changing due to different kinds of formulas, especially with the OTT platforms. So it's not a very common thing which you see, like you're seeing again the melodrama or the drama. So we have a lot of again like mythological films coming into focus with having a high grandeur budgeted films with using CGI and VFX. So it's not like, I think technological advancement is on, we are on par with the industry now with the like what audiences prefer more. So even you're trying to bring in these kind of concepts, right? So time duration also is very important when you're selling it out on theaters. So that is why I think like few there is a neuroscience report which has been proved that since we are prone to see more of these reels and short videos and films, the capacity we likely to take instant gratification for some time, and then like after a point of time we feel that it is not fresh and enough. So this is where we find that short films or any film duration of less time, I think it is now it is like on you can tell on people are working more with these kind of scripts in the sense to reduce the time duration also based on the audience preferences. Yes, next. The next I would like to deal upon is about the power of OTT platforms. Yes, everybody is very sure of how we used it during the COVID period and how there was a shift in the audience and how they consume the content with respect to the OTT platforms. So even the genres and the concepts dealt also had a very big impact with the OTT platform. So I would like to take few films, especially the Malayalam industry, which utilized the best at that time. So films initially when Virus or Let It Be Kumblangi Nights or The Great Indian Kitchen when it came. So even the story which was dealt, okay, they had a very bold theme, the genre which was dealt there, how culturally narrative devices were being used in the script, especially on the OTT platform. So these were the trendsetters. So audience had a kind of expectation, that is how they consume things and how like they needed a variety apart from the original content. This happened also with the region-wise content developing, especially if you see Tamil, Telugu, Kannada films and all. When we see about with the kind of it's not only like grandeur was needed, but a proper content which is relevant to my geography, to my demography, is something where a person started to decide as an audience. As an actor, it is different. When you look at from the audience perspective, it is different. So when you start enjoying content in your own language, so things were made very feasible with the OTT platforms of how you go about with the dubbing or looking at the subtitles, and how these regional languages started gaining attention at the national as well as at the international level. So even if you find that suppose a person is telling, I belong to this person, I want to talk about something which had a very strong ideology in that area, the custom, the culture, everything, it was dealt very in a very simplified manner in the like especially in the last 5 years. If you see films, I think with the recent films itself, we can quote in Tamil, if you see, let it be Labar Bandu, or it could be Kottukali, these kind of films and all, the kind of concepts they deal, it is like, it's something very raw, fresh for the new audience. That is how they target the regional audience, and how these films are being gained prominence at the international festivals. And then we can see about even the trend, how people are now slowly starting to adopt to episodic contents, especially with the web series. So writing for a short film, writing for a 2-hour feature film, or it could be web series, things differ. Okay, and the kind, so everywhere psychology, geography, demography is very, very important to be carried on. So this is a challenge which you see when you want to sell some kind of a story to your OTT platform. Let it be, it could be a web series, or it could be a feature film which you're doing it on these platforms. Yes, next. Next is about the storylines. This is similar, which I dealt when the first part of my presentation, where I spoke about content. So 3 important things which I see, which has become a very innovative challenge and change in scripting phases about the stories which we deal. Let it be things where you have a lot of social change or societal issues, the kind of women empowerment concepts, how women-centric films, it's not like I'm talking more about I'm a feminist or talking anything related to it, but I'm just telling, I find that there are strong characters for women in of late. Let it be the regional films which we are seeing, you can pick from any category. So even the gender role and the kind of empowerment they're trying to give for developing complex female characters is becoming very common. And this is something which is said to be one of the change in the Indian cinema. The storylines, in the sense how they portray certain realistic things of issues, okay, especially the societal issues. And of late, we are seeing more of mental health problems also being dealt a lot with the script. And also the representation and intersectionality, like it be any LGBT issues, or it could be or any gender discrimination or women-centric roles. All these are being represented more with the storyline and the films. So this is a change which has been seen it is there, but of late this has been like you can see there is a shift towards these kind of storylines. Yes, and they use OTT platforms also to promote. The next. The last I would like to talk about, like, it's not only about script, and I think we need to see a little bit about the technological advancements which is shaping our film industry. So recently, like films, let it be with cinematography or sound, and think the CGI, VFX, and the motion capture effects has been like something which is on trend with our Indian film industry. So let it be films like Brahmastra or RRR, or let it be KGF, Ponniyin Selvan, Bahubali, they all have incredible usage of CGI and VFX, which it's again one of the important technological advancement which we see in our Indian film industry with and even the genres also now require based on this. So like visually heavy genres, like if I want to make a superhero movie or mythology combined with fantasy genres, all this we be using with this is, let it be Adipurush or Ponniyin Selvan. These films are again is how we see advancements in the technological developments in Indian film industry. This is respective even with the kind of cinematography developments, or it could be even with the kind of sound design we use, like how when a sound is being used, how like if you see films like Drishyam and other things, even how we use silence. And then all this we can see how even silence has been a very big element. And when it comes to technology of using sound, yes, we have a lot of films which you can see in the OTT platforms which support these systems. So that is again a challenge with our Indian film industry. Yes, ma'am. I think I can go more with the discussions.
Dr. Preeta ma'am, thank you for sharing your perspective on cultural impact of cinema, particularly in addressing social issues, women empowerment, power of OTT script writing, genre storytelling has been truly inspiring, ma'am. That was a extremely provoking session, ma'am. Ma'am, can we have the question and answer session in the final of the session?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Of the session, ma'am.
Yes.
So now I call upon Deepa Ramanuja, ma'am, to start off with the session, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I would like to talk about the technological advancements, specifically about artificial intelligence and multi-agent workflow, which is the talk of the town here, and also a little bit about touch upon blockchain technology. See, the topic is such a vast one. We can keep on, like, we can go on and on, but the time given to us is like just 10 minutes. So, yeah. So AI is that holds the potential to revolutionize the entire film industry um, by improving efficiency and reducing cost. But at the same time, it also poses significant threats concerning job security, creative integrity, and ethical considerations too. So while we should embrace AI technologies, we must be extremely cautious about the impact. So a few days back, I was having a conversation with my daughter about the threats to the industry. She's a writer and published author, and her concern was genuine. The possibility of AI replacing human writers is high. I would say not just in script writing, but in other areas as well. Say editing, VFX. And my acting coach, he keeps telling us, you all need to be worried about actors being replaced by robots. We all laughed when he said that, but I guess we need to be a little bit concerned. So let's talk about dubbing. So one can make a voiceover artist to come over and then say for an hour and then take their voice and pay just for an hour. But the possibilities of using their voice for future works are very high without the artist getting paid, right? So this is a serious concern. So we have seen AI-generated deepfake videos of the actors in the past, right? Like Tamanna's Kavala video, that song was recreated with Simran and a few other actors. And Rashmika's face was used for a woman wearing revealing clothes. So these examples raise ethical and legal questions. So last year here in Hollywood, we had a major writer's strike. AI was one of the main subjects of conversation. But these advancements, they're promising too. So in one of the recent films in Tamil, like I think it was Goat, the technology was used to de-age the actor. And I think in Indian too, some actors were recreated who are not with us anymore. So it is up to us to see, how to use these advancements. So technology could be obviously misused in the hands of in wrong hands, but the key is to find the balance. So if we, in my opinion, if we navigate these challenges thoughtfully to preserve we have such a rich cultural and creative heritage. So we can definitely do that while embracing the technological advancements. So now I want to talk about the very, very important thing which is happening right now here, and I'm sure around the world. It is a multi-agent workflow. So multi-agent AI workflows that involves several AI systems, okay, working together to accomplish a single task. So that could be too complex or too large for one single AI system to handle. So let's take, for example, this event. So someone came up with this concept, someone planned, and someone designed the posters. Someone executed the promo, contacted the guests, and someone tested whether the Zoom was working properly. And we speakers, we came prepared with that topic given to us. So the goal is to have a successful event, and we all, as a team, we all executed this together. And each member of the team, we all have our specific skill set. So in the context of creating a movie, this multi-agent workflow, so one AI agent might analyze scripts to suggest plot improvements, character development, even deepen the character arcs. And another one can assist in directing. And in the case of camera department, AI could suggest camera angles, lighting setups, and another AI agent can provide real-time feedback during the shoot, based on what is the envisioned narrative. And for post-production, AI agents can that are specialized in editing. They could offer recommendations for cuts and transitions that enhance the storytelling or viewer engagement. And another one can actually manage the project timeline and resources. So such a workflow it's an interactive process. These different AI agents, they interact amongst themselves, and in the process, they refine their outputs through collaboration and self-improvement. So when this process eventually happens, I don't know when it is going to happen in Indian cinema, when this happens, the possibilities of just one director can manage the entire production with the help of multiple AI agents. So as these AI systems take on roles ranging from script writing to editing to visual effects to project management, so actually this raises a critical concerns about the future of employment. That is the biggest concern we have. And now I want to talk about a little bit of blockchain technology. That is the emerging trend. So it's making significant inroads in the Indian film industry now, offering innovative funding, innovative distribution, and mainly rights management solutions. So we all know that IP rights are the major issue in the industry, and we have been facing for a very, very long time. So it is such an unorganized, I'm sorry to say this, it's an unorganized, and there is not much of transparency too. So Chennai-based two companies are there, Oracle Movies and Producer Bazaar. I know the folks involved, especially Producer Bazaar. They both are, they use advanced and secure blockchain technologies to buy and sell movie rights. So there is total transparency. And hopefully, these companies will help transform the industry. So recently I read a news that I forgot the name of the company that collaborated with the Shemaru Entertainment. So I think sometime last year, maybe September, October 2024. So the aim was to transform Bollywood blockbusters into digital collectibles using blockchain technology, opening new monetization avenues and providing fans with access to their unique content. So the benefit, if you want to know what is the benefits of using blockchain technology, first of all, increased transparency in, as I already mentioned, funding, distribution, and enhanced security and traceability of movie rights. It's just because we can go and find out online. We can check it out, like who holds what rights, like who is holding overseas rights of this, and then dubbing rights of this, or the entire. When is the expiry date? Everything we can find out, and more than anything, avoiding middlemen. And we are making direct connections between the creators and the consumers. So then also new revenue streams through digital collectibles and NFTs. These are the main advantages. The challenges, if you ask me, what are the challenges? It's still in the very early stage, and then we don't have much data to show the success rate of this. So there should be wider adoption and understanding of the technology in the film industry. So I don't know how much time I have. Am I done with my 10 minutes? Hello?
Ma'am, you have 5 minutes more, ma'am.
5 minutes more? Okay. So also, I want to talk about something, the subject which is very, very important in my opinion, because as a working actor, and I also have produced films. So I want to talk about the high production cost, which is one of the significant challenges we are facing. See, most of the cost for films, especially we are using, let's take a case of films with tier 1 actors. So the major cost goes to the cast and crew above the line. So you know what above the line is, right? And of course, a significant chunk goes towards marketing. So it is very difficult for the producer to make a profit. See, at the end of the day, it's business. We are all here to, we are all passionate filmmakers. But at the end of the day, this business, they all need to make profits. So they rely mainly on the theatrical and OTT platforms, and of course, some of the rights like remake rights, dubbing rights, and overseas rights for monetization. But of course, we did Dr. Ipsita and both of them, Dr. Preeta, they all talked about a little bit. So making, especially Dr. Ipsita, she talked about the FICCI reports and everything. So I'm talking about the Tamil industry. Here, making people come to the theater is the main issue, in my opinion. So obviously, one is piracy, and where people just download and then watch the films online, and or they wait for the film to come on the OTT platforms. People can watch films without stepping out of their house, and at their convenience, they can rewind, pause, fast forward, versus spending a minimum of 1,000 rupees for a family to go to theater to watch a film. But if you take in the case of mid-budget and low-budget films, they don't even get the theatrical release they deserve. So even if they get one, it will be limited, very, very limited shows. Just hardly like that too at an odd hours in my whatever I have observed so far. So there is definitely a revenue loss. And also OTT platform, they won't pay just like that millions to all these films, anything and everything. But they also need to know that these films will be watched by the audience. So the only way, the way they can check is the success rate of success at the theaters. In my opinion, it's a vicious cycle. So I read somewhere that Bollywood's collections dropped 7% last year, mainly due to the high ticket prices, which actually correlates with what Dr. Ipsita said. So, and also the other changes, if I want to talk about, of course, Dr. Preeta touched upon this little bit. This is about women filmmakers. A lot of us are in different capacities, and we are coming up with powerful women-oriented films right now, which is really great. And LGBTQ representation in films, which is, I'm really glad because this is a subject which is very close to my heart. To see these films in the mainstream cinema. So I'm even more delighted to see that top actors are willing to play gay or transgender roles. Actually, which was not the case like about, say, 10 years or 12 years back. In fact, I came here with the subject in 2000. I live in US. I came to India with my script late 2010, and the theme was LGBTQ theme. The subject was that. But I had such a hard time getting a producer, convincing the actors. But now I'm really delighted to see that things are changing, and actors like Prithviraj, he acted in this Malayalam film Mumbai Police, and Vijay Sethupathi, he acted in Super Deluxe, he acted as a transgender, and recently Kaathal, that Mammootty acted. And I don't know, but you all need to see a movie called Nilanira Suryan by Samyukta Vijayan. She's from US. It is such an honest film about a transformation of a man into woman. And also there's a lot of, so please do watch. If I don't know whether it's available on any of the platforms, but I would request all of you to watch that film. It is such a, in my opinion, very, very honest film. And also international representation of Indian actors is getting slowly growing. So I'm hopefully the numbers will grow even further in the coming years. So Indian cinema, we have such a rich culture and emotions and bright future. So with all the technological advancements we have, that combined with compelling and path-breaking storytelling, definitely we can take center stage in the global cinema. So I'm sure audiences worldwide, they can all connect with and resonate with the Indian films. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Deepa Ramanujan ma'am. Deepa Ramanujan ma'am, thank you for sharing your reflection on challenges faced by filmmakers. Your real-world examples have shed light on the ongoing struggles and opportunities that continue to shape the industry today. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let's take a few minutes and hear it from our audience and students. You can ask questions to the panelists if you have any question. Yeah.
I think Professor Preetha's presentation is still there. So if it's...
Stop sharing port.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Deepa ma'am, am I audible? Deepa ma'am, am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
So you went to college in the US to study direction and later acting classes. You have worked on the set and directed it and have been acting for a long time now. My question is, how much do academics play a role in someone's film career?
Wow, such a fantastic question. Okay. Let me start by, I'll take 2-3 minutes to answer this question because this is, I really want to share this. I have been wanting to share this with some of the students. So those days, how things used to happen is people used to work as ADs, or in the case of camera, DOPs, they need to assist the DOPs before they actually tried for direction or started working in any films, right? So this was like on-the-job learning. But directors like Karthik Subbaraj, or I'm giving examples from Tamil industry, Nalan Kumarasamy, they broke that. And actually, they used to say that formal education is not necessary. But in my opinion, you learn the basics. You get a good foundation and learn all the essential skills. Of course, as others say, that many legends, including my own guru, KB sir, they have not gone to film schools. But when you have a strong foundation, it is going to help you a lot when you actually enter the real life. See, what we study in school, as I said, it's just the foundation, right? But in real life, it is very, very different. So the skills, what you're going to be learning in the college, that you need to apply those skills on the job. So why are we all here? We are all passionate filmmakers, right? In any of the crafts. So we are passionate about filmmaking, but passion alone won't help. At the end of the day, it's business, serious business. So someone is successful when a film is made. So there's not enough when you have a script in your hand. That needs to be made into a film, and also that has to be released. Either it's a theatrical release or OTT platform, only then we can call it as a success. So here the competition is very, very high. And we all need to be very realistic. If I were to give one piece of advice to the students, I would say develop patience. See, if you're a director, you need to convince a producer and also the lead actors. You may have to approach many actors, like it won't click the first time. Many actors and the production houses, and wait for them to get back to you. Okay? And if you're an actor, so the director must be convinced that you fit the part. And it is not that easy to get a break in the industry. See, I'm not discouraging here. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not discouraging. I am just being practical and realistic. And I'm sharing my own experiences. That's it. So assuming that you have a producer to back you up and you have let's say you have a fantastic team. So, but the film, as I said earlier, the film has to be completed, then released. So recently I was talking to the president of the Producers Council here in Tamil Nadu, South Indian Producers Council or Tamil Nadu, I think Tamil Nadu. So he told me that there are hundreds and hundreds of films are waiting for release. And it's not happening anytime soon. So take the one that got released recently, the Maragadha Raja. The film was released after 12 years. Really, after 12 years, the movie got released few weeks back. So you need to have patience. And you need to be strong, iron men or iron women mentally. And you cannot be taking impulsive decisions that might ruin your career. See, I'm saying all this out of just sheer experience. And what will you be doing while you're waiting to hear back from the director or the producer? So you need to hone your skills. See, and also whatever I said about the discouraging thing, nothing can happen to any of you. You may all get lucky too. But you need to be prepared for the worst, right? So when I'm talking about honing your skills, keep yourself updated with what's happening in the world. Like watch as many films as possible, network, join a team as an assistant, or you can learn on the job. If you're an actor, you can join a theater group. I'm from theater. And I cannot describe in words the experience you face when you get onto the stage. Right? You need to experience it. And also, if you want to become a director, you don't need, with all the technological advancements, you don't really need a big setup or a lot of money. So even you can shoot using your iPhone, right? So, yeah, and also you can upload it on YouTube and market it on social media. So all these things are going to help you strengthen your resume. So, and also these projects, one important thing is when you're actually trying out doing small projects like this, the one thing important lesson you're going to learn is what not to do in the real life, real set. So good luck to each and every one of you. Don't stop learning, develop patience and mental strength, journal, do yoga, meditation, keep your body and mind strong. You need these strengths to face the real world when you get out of college. That's it. That's my.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. My question is to Preeta, ma'am. How has the rise of digital streaming platforms affected traditional cinema, both in terms of audience engagement and filmmaking trends? Do you think this shift is permanent or temporary? Ma'am, you're mute.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
With as Deepa ma'am was referring to the technological advancement, even the type of storytelling and the kind of scripts which we deal requires a kind of change. The question was, is it regarding the advancement in distribution, or is it with anything got to do with the storytelling process? I'm asking you. The question was,
OTT platform.
that is a story made for OTT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there is nothing like, in the sense, we were used to follow a formula of a routine genre. Things are being changed with the help of OTT platform. We get to know that something new. As ma'am was talking about, Deepa ma'am was talking about the LGBT issues and such things. We have a platform to produce, or make scripts related to it on these kind of platforms. So if you see the drama, or let it be a rom-com, these are the kind of genres which you see like from the traditional till now, right? So with the influence of these kind of technology, it is even more easier for us to pitch out and come out with new concepts. That's the only advantage of OTT platforms, and this trend is being going on the right track. We are able to explore new genres. A combination of genres and subgenres are, I think, like how I was talking about mythology and fantasy with the technological advancements. You see those kind of things even with gender and relations, or it could be with the societal issues. Of late, if you see the last 5 years, there are a lot of things which is covered with the social aspects also, irrespective of whether it's going to be Tamil, Malayalam, or entire Indian cinema. If we can name a lot of films where you can talk about few things like the social practices, things which are it is not about the ideology of a person, it's about the ideology of how the entire society has been dealing with. So these kind of concepts are being grabbing attention among the audience now with the help of OTT platforms. That's the main thing which I want to tell. And even the regional flavor, or the liking towards those kind of concepts also is like fast catching up.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello. My question is to Ms. Ipsita, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. So you talked about PR and its involvement in promoting movies, and I think PR is affecting the content-based movies, because PR is more inclined to promoting the commercial movies. Like, people had negative reviews about this recent movie called Pushpa 2, but they made a sequel out of that content, the same movie. And similarly, content based movies, the movies which are so good in content, we get to see those movies in shorts and reels, and then we have to find the movie name. So isn't PR affecting the reach of those movies? I want your opinion on that.
Okay, I will rather talk about marketing.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. So marketing has always been good for cinema, right? The format of marketing has still changed over the years. Earlier, there used to be posters and hoardings. Now we have, a lot of varied, marketing platforms. There's cross-media platforms. We see a lot of marketing happening in television also. So if I say that marketing is negatively hampering the films in terms of footsteps, that's wrong. So be it the theatrical releases or be it the streaming platform releases, right? Of course, the nature of marketing is actually different for both the platforms, because one is usually a big budget film. The one which are theatrical releases are usually big budget. As I said, it's more VFX, it's more spectacle, it's larger budgets, it's more star driven, right? So they need a very high marketing budget. And in fact, the marketing budget is almost 40 to 50% of the film budget as per the current report. So you can understand how much goes into the marketing. Whereas the films which are, say, based or meant for streaming platforms, and see, the streaming platforms is in a very, I think one of the problem is the convergence itself, in the sense, the other day only I was hearing some directors where they were talking about that the entire future of the streaming industry is based on primarily two platforms, which is essentially Netflix Prime. So it's a lot of power in their hand as to which film will work and which does not. Earlier, there was the concept of that after the theatrical release, films will go into streaming platforms and they'll make some revenue there. Or satellite rights used to bring, say, when the films were released on television, they used to bring 60% of the film revenue. But all that is the bygone days right now. So right now, it's the streaming platforms, whatever price they're offering. So the mandate is that if you make a film keeping the streaming audience in mind, you make the film with a smaller budget. And therefore, the marketing is more oriented towards digital marketing rather than the other formats of marketing, which is true for theatrical releases. So, that's what, there's a polarization in everything. There's a polarization in audience, there's a polarization in content. There's also a polarization in terms of marketing strategies. So putting everything under one bracket, that this is the marketing strategies of films currently, I think that is somewhere a little problematic area. And of course, what you said, digital marketing right now is about 40% of the film budget, of the marketing budget, which is true for both theatrical releases and streaming platform. But streaming platform, many a times the core money or the core revenue spent on marketing is essentially digital marketing. Again, coming from the reports, not from my own submission. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
And PR has a very different connotation. I'm not going into that. That's not my area also. But yeah, that's a very different connotation altogether. Yes.
But Ipsita, don't you think that any publicity is good publicity, whether it's
Yeah,
positive or
yeah.
negative?
Yeah, that's what I said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Any publicity will increase
If-
your
Yeah.
footfall. Looking at marketing from a negative perspective, that's a personal opinion, but essentially
Yeah.
that helps any product, and essentially film is a product, right?
Yeah. And it's also very extremely subjective too.
Yes, indeed.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. So this is not a question like specifically for anyone, but a general question. So, do you believe that Indian filmmakers, in their need for global appreciation, tend to compromise on showcasing the essence of Indian culture in their films? If so, how can this be rectified to maintain cultural authenticity?
Can you repeat that question, dear, once again?
Do you believe that Indian filmmakers, in their need for global appreciation, tend to compromise on showcasing the essence of Indian culture in their films? And if so, how can this be rectified to maintain cultural authenticity?
Are we compromising?
In today's time, we see that filmmakers are actually like making content to win awards, especially Oscar, and
Yeah.
not like they're not focusing on Indian culture.
Is there onus on filmmakers to represent Indian culture? That's question number one. And number two is, see, international audience, or, we have always, be it time from Raj Kapoor, who was making films also for, Russia was a big audience sector, be it 1990s, we were always making films from for the overseas audience as well. So, yeah, sorry if.
So actually, see, as a director, as a storyteller, whatever story we have, we are going to say that. I don't think we have to go with an approach that, we are the people responsible to save and protect the India's. I don't think so. See, if I have a story, which is a realistic story, let's say take LGBTQ example. If it is a realistic story which is happening around us, there are thousands and millions of stories around us. Just the only thing is we need to open our eyes and see. So that some section of the audience may think that, we are deviating from our heritage, and we are, people can think like that. But I don't 100% agree with you that we are compromising on our culture or anything. So it is, and also it's extremely subjective. what you think is negative could be very, very positive for someone else, right? I
Yes.
mean, sorry, this is how I feel. Others, I mean, you two can
No, I think the
have
question
a
is
different.
with regard to animal and all. They said that, it's kind of bad
Oh,
food.
that way. Okay, animal and then even Arjun Reddy and all that thing. So
Exactly.
again, Arjun Reddy and okay, even in fact, I when Arjun Reddy was made into Tamil and I played that mom's role, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Even at a personal level, I do not like anything that is violent films. I don't like it at all. I don't enjoy violence. I don't enjoy any like all these bloodshed and all those things. But if the director, if that is a story he wants to say,
He has to say it.
right, he has to say it. If
Yes.
that is what he has in mind, and also remember, he has convinced a producer to invest on him, his story. He has convinced some actors to, and even a cinematographer or a production designer. So he has succeeded that way. Of course, none of us, all of us need not agree with whatever is being showed. But I think this is where the freedom of expression comes, right? Don't you agree with me? I mean, don't you think so?
Yes,
As
ma'am.
filmmakers, yeah, and also remember, like even the censorship, we have been having a lot of problems after the film, after it gets censored. There are a lot of protests, and people are asking to ban the film. So when we talk about, we all need to, the filmmakers, we need to have our freedom of expression, we have freedom of freedom. I think the same thing applies to other areas as well. If that is the story he or she wants to say, nobody can stop that.
True.
If the story or the script demands, it goes like that. It's not that it's like we are compromising on without highlighting anything on our cultural aspects. Maybe the director decides like that, or the story needs that. That's how it functions. So I don't think like anywhere we are not
See,
highlighting
and
or
all, yeah, and also if it is forced, I sorry, I didn't get your name. The whoever asked the question. So, if it is anything that is forced, audience are going to reject that. If they think, because now they've all the audience, they've all become very, very sensible, because thanks to all the OTT platforms, we get to see a lot of international films, and they get to see all the good quality films, like a good script, good screenplay, good acting, good CG, everything. So when that is not happening, what is happening right now? So let's say that if the CG sucks, or if the screenplay is really pathetic, so immediately the memes come out. The very next moment, even before the show gets over. So the audience can decide. They have the power. See, nobody can, when we make the film, nobody can predict the future of the film, the fate of the film. So it is there with the audience. The audience, they have the power to decide whether they want to make the film a hit or a flop. So if they think, if the majority of the audience feel that, oh, it is against our Indian culture and they are forcing something of sexuality or a nude scene or whatever it be, and they are going to reject the film just like that.
Yeah, so I think you're very correct. It's on the, I mean, I had this discussion in my class as well, where half the students said that, it's the choice of the director, and half said no. There should be some sort of moral sensibility of the direction. And I said it's the opposite. It's the sensibility of the audience. Because see, I
Audience,
say
yeah.
everything I want, but then it's up to you whether you accept or reject what I say. So if I'm saying that Animal is a bad film, then it should be said by the audience, not by the director, because that's a creative person. He has freedom to say whatever he wants to, but you are accepting it. So then it's you, in the sense the audience. So it's the audience sensibility which needs to be changed or not changed, or whatever it is. That's a personal choice, absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ispita, ma'am, you introduced a new concept for us, mass escapism, and actually the digital divide, in OTT cinema, It's a big research point for us. And Preeta ma'am, you spoke about content, neuroscience, and that watching reels and all. It's also a big topic for us to do research. And Deepa ma'am, AI threat in creative integrity. As an assistant professor, I'm always concerned about this thing. Like, students are lacking their creativity due to the all those media, watching all those media, especially social media. They are just watching and becoming addicted to those sessions. And you have said lots about production to distribution. So specifically, actually, I have a question about out of the concern of for my students, like what measures can institutions take to train students to deal with rapid technological advancements and automation in visual communication fields? Anybody can answer, ma'am. Please guide.
I think
all three.
I would let the academicians here, both of them are professors, they are dealing with students. Let them answer, and if I have anything more to add, I would love to do that.
Sure, ma'am.
I think they should, yeah.
Ma'am, can you please repeat your question?
Yes, ma'am. What measures can institutions take to train students to deal with rapid technological advancements and automation in visual communication fields?
Ma'am, this first thing I would like to talk about the kind of projects and the assignments and the kind of internships which they do. This bridging the, I think the title itself is like that, right? Like how you meet the academic industry standards. So how are they being interned and the kind of places where they go for internships? This has to be mandatory. I think I would insist this right from the first year, at the end of the first year, they would go, because it's a 3-year program. And also the kind of projects which you accompany in giving for your practical papers, like in how to upgrade or update, that is very, very important. It's not like we follow the same pattern of repeating that, because things are changing. So even writing a concept or a story also requires a new kind of development when it comes to this is very important, because I face this even being an academician. This is very important, and experiential learning also is very important. Like getting into, apart from the classroom teaching, there has to be like some kind of visiting to the real production house and seeing what exactly how it works. It depends like whether it's going to be a production house or any other media house is relevant to visual communication field. Experiential learning is very, very important.
I will rather talk about from the strategy, since Avis College is, or my department, the media department is taking up. So one thing we have noticed is, for example, earlier students were much less equipped than today. So for example, there's a photography class, right? So earlier there used to be theory classes where I used to take photography, where I used to teach them white balance or, shutter, aperture. So we have scrapped all of that, because now when a student comes in first year, he's well aware of white balance, he's well aware of shutter, aperture, he has a camera in hand, and he's already coming with the photographs. So all that has become, most of the theory part has become redundant. For example, in screenwriting, I used to have classes where I used to take up the Final Draft software and teach them Final Draft. Today, that has become completely unnecessary. They know Celtex, they know how to work with Final Draft. I just need to announce that we are going to now next write the next assignment in a software called Final Draft. So that has happened. So then what we did was, all of our papers are no more composite papers, which is half theory, half practical. They have become only practical. And we have done away with our NSEM, one final exam. And we have a set of 4 to 5 exams, which are happening throughout the 3 months, throughout the semester. And as correctly pointed out by Preeta ma'am as well, that is all of these 5 assignments. So basically the examination is just the assignments. Students are just given learning material, and then they kind of learn with that learning material, and they are giving the assignments, and we kind of mark them. So the entire teaching strategy has changed with current students. And of course, there's infrastructure and all of that. I'm not going into all of that. But other than that, I think the teaching strategy had to change. It's very similar to what is there in the West, because West also follows a similar pattern. So we are trying to adopt, because otherwise, giving that chalk and board method of teaching students, that doesn't work anymore. Absolutely. Right.
And also, Ipsita, like when you clearly said that people know about the basics of camera thing, and also about Final Draft and the screenwriting softwares.
Right.
So same way, there are so many courses, like you take Udemy, for example, or platforms. The things that if the kid, if the student, if he or she wants to learn, there are so many avenues now compared to like 10 years before. So they can, so it's up to the student to learn. They have to keep their eyes and ears.
Is there even in
Right?
YouTube? There are so many YouTube videos.
YouTube, yeah. So
when
not necessarily. Even my house helper in India, so she wants to do something. She's so smart. She's not educated at all. Okay, she goes to YouTube and she said, "Okay, ma'am, I saw this and then I've done this." So when she can do that, I'm sure all our students here, they can all do a much better job. And Preeta, sorry, I'm not calling ma'am or
Yes, ma'am.
because you are all saying ma'am, and it's not coming to me. I'm so sorry about that. So the thing is, you were talking about taking the students to the production houses and all that, right? So in fact, I have come up with that. I'm here to implement that thing. So my idea, my dream rather, is take the students, like especially people who have written the scripts, and the success would be only when they get a producer and then the film is being made and then released. So I've titled this like a script to screen. So I'm looking for someone to fund this program, because I need a lot of money for that I have designed everything, okay? So, but the thing is, when you go to a production house and all that, because I come from the other end, I have been on the set for the last, I started acting in 1995. So I have seen different kinds of sets. So unfortunately, with all due respect to all the directors, so most of the directors, they don't share anything and everything with their own assistants and associates. So if that is the case, how are our students going to go, and what is that they are going to learn? I mean, that's how I feel, because I have seen what is happening on the set. It is difficult for them they can go and observe. What is that they're going to observe there? They don't want to share. They don't want to be, people are, I mean, it is very sad. I'm really, really sad when I say this. But not everyone, I'm not generalizing here, not everyone is willing to share the knowledge. So,
no, ma'am. At least the nuances of the techniques of, suppose it's going to be a filmmaking. So like whatever we speak or teach in the four walls, I don't think it's going to stay. Once they go and see the live part of it, of exactly how the industry is functioning over here. It's not only with direction or cinematography. I'm talking about even the other editing. I think now a lot of women editors are coming up. I'm so happy to see that in my class, like a bunch of students, when I talk to them, they tell that I'm interested more in post-production. So I was so happy to see, and they are getting equipped themselves more. So it is not that let them have an overall view of everything, and they'll be finalizing that in the second year. So where they'll be fitting in, right? By the end of the fourth semester, that is in the end of the second year, they know where they can channelize and what is their area of expertise. So before that, we just randomly take them. So since it's Viscom students, they'll have different domains of how they go about.
No, the thing is,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Ma'am, because we have to start the next session.
So sorry.
Thank you all for sharing your thoughts, ma'am. It was so engaging and insightful. Ma'am, shall we end the session, ma'am? Yeah. Once again, thank you to our panelists for your time, effort, and expertise. And of course, thank you to everyone in the audience for your participation. We hope you found today's discussion as enlightened as we did. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you at future events. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Before you close your camera, this is Dr. Alex Parimalan. I know Deepa, maybe the other two. I am not come across her. I'm happy to meet you through this online session. I have only a request, not a question. The students you can take a break and see, in a limited way, you have addressed our students, this SDNB Vaishnava College students. I think there needs to be more institution to institution collaboration, So I would request that in future, we would work closely with you, and people like you should keep coming in and sharing your thoughts and views. And also we can have institution to institution collaboration. Thank you so much. Deepa, hi. I hope you remember I'm Yarni's father. You made a film of...
Oh my God.
Sorry, maybe over the phone we will be in touch with you because we are running short of time. Nice contacting you. Thank you.
Looking forward.
Thank you.
Lovely connecting with both of you.
I think we'll connect over the WhatsApp or phone.
Yes.
Yeah, WhatsApp. I have my number. Yeah, WhatsApp, and then social media as well. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Nice connecting with you.
Nice.